And we're back with another NXT UK review. Happy April's Fool's Day, and Triple H turned up and he dissolved the thing. Anyway, now let's get into the show. It was a good show. I feel like the ending kind of confused me. It was a very expected heel turn, which stick around for the end to hear about that. But kind of the way they went about it was a bit confusing. We'll get to that. However, let's kick off NXT UK review the same way NXT started. So it was a women's match between Aoife Valkyrie and a debuting Stevie Turner, who is Bobby Tyler in Stardom. She's kind of kept her Tokyo Cyber Squad type gimmick, which even Nigel mentioned, which is great. I like when they actually embrace those wrestling outside of the WWE. Very cool gear, going for that, still that very futuristic feel for her video package. She got some good offense in this. I quite liked that. Although she was on the losing end in her debut, they kind of showed her technical wrestling skills, her speed. Aoife Valkyrie was going very hard hitting. Stevie Turner got some cool offense in. When Aoife Valkyrie was in the corner, she went to run into her, and then usually, when someone avoids you, you just miss. But she bounced off the ropes, went over Aoife Valkyrie and hit her backstabber. It was pretty cool. However, Turner is on the losing end after she starts kicking Aoife Valkyrie in the face, which I don't think you should do to a face, because she ends up hulking up. And the Hulk thing, when I wrote it in my notes, it's like, oh yeah, you just Hulk up. However, it's fitting because Aoife Valkyrie wins with a top rope leg drop. Book it. You can't kick out of a leg drop, brother. I hate Hogan, but the leg drop should never be kicked out of, especially a top rope leg drop. Aoife Valkyrie hits it for a win. A very impressive debut for Stevie Turner. I mean, it feels like they probably have big things for her in the future. The NXT UK women's division, again, is getting better and better, and NXT as a whole has really good women's divisions. The UK one is coming to parity to the American one, and they have a lot of good, young, fresh talent coming through. We move on to a kid video promo, just about him winning the Heritage Cup, him being amazingly representative for Spain in the wrestling scene, really cool. Him saying, I'm excited to prelude so I can see who I'm going to face afterwards. And then afterwards there's a Jack Stars and Piper Niven in the Performance Center. Again, I feel like it's one of those promos which they don't air on TV, but they leave it in the network to kill that 1 hour's time. I kind of want Piper Niven to go back for the title, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, sure, I like her with Jack Stars, but I kind of just want her to go for the title. She can win it. And then we have T.O. Man versus Jobber. The Jobber is actually Josh Morrell, who was really impressive last week in that tag match. But to be honest, for the most part, T.O. Man had a I don't give a F about you, kid, feeling about him. He absolutely destroys Morrell for most of the match. Morrell does get in some cool, quick, agile offense, which I like, because I think it's because he impressed so much last week. Obviously I don't know how they're recording these things they're probably recording them in bulk, but I don't know how often they are. But yeah, I mean, although he got, last week he got more offense in on the bigger men, because T.O. Man absolutely obliterated him today. And T.O. Man, he's working over the legs a lot. He does this amazing, Morrell is prone on the ground, he runs in with a forearm into his face. I'm like, oh my god. But T.O. Man wins like he did in his debut, so takes out the leg, goes to the top rope for a drop kick to the back, stomps on the back, then stomps on the front, on the stomach, and then hits a crossface on Josh Morrell for the tap out. Again, I don't know, because they don't have a mid-card title, but they have the Heritage Cup. Maybe T.O. Man will end up in the Heritage Cup scene, because we go on to the NXT UK title scene, and I don't think he fits in it because it's full of big men right now, and I think Dragunov is going to take that off Walter eventually. Because we have the face-off between Walter and Rampage Brown with Slimy Sid, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of just felt like they were like, Walter, Rampage, just talk at each other. I've got some good quotes here. Like, at first it was like, the set is very naff. It's just like a table that's not properly covered, and they're sat on chairs. It's like, you could have just done this you could have done this in the ring. I would have quite liked that. But they didn't, so I guess Walter's schedule is a bit all over the place. But again, I don't know when they recorded this, so here are some pertinent quotes. Rampage is saying, "Oh, this is my job. I care about this." But Walter, like, I think he's the heel in this situation, who makes a good point, being like, "Yeah, you say it's your job. This is my life," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, what, like." I'm siding with Walter here. He's giving a very impassioned speech compared to Rampage, who kind of looked like he didn't have a cry face like The Miz gets, but he was just like, okay. And I'm kind of feels like Walter was like, no. And like, you kind of want to build Rampage even more, guys. Don't like direct them to get Rampage over more, because I think Walter's the heel here. And Rampage is like, you don't, and then Walter was like, I don't respect Rampage. I'm like, wait, what? And then Rampage is like, when you came to this country, I beat you. And Walter's like, yeah, you beat me when I came to this country, but since then, what have you done? I'm like, I'm pretty sure Rampage went kind of around the UK and did fairly well, but obviously not in the WWE canon. And Walter's like, you've done nothing, you'll never know what it's like to be NXT UK champion. I don't respect you. You know, I'm selfless. I care about this business. This isn't about me. This is about wrestling. And this just felt like two old men. Not two old men. Actually, no, not two old men. Just like two geezers going at it. And it kind of felt like they were going to beat the shit. They were going to like have a fight with one another because they had a few too many at the pub, which is kind of cool. Talking about geezers at the pub, this gala short film of what is probably what looked like illegal bare knuckle boxing, and like I think it's Joe Coffey who sees it, and like he's like, yeah, who's fighting? It's some geezer who looks like he's just some dude off the street who probably isn't that well trained. He goes and gets Wolfie. He's like, yeah, there's a fight, so you can go and fight him. And Wolfie basically kills the dude. It's amazing. Like it starts, he throws a punch which looks like a very cheesy, like old film punch. The guy goes down and it's just a close up on Wolfgang beating the shit out of him. It's amazing. It was very cheesy, but I liked that they basically set up that Wolfie almost killed a dude. Like, I'm laughing, but I'm like, oh, okay, that's how you book a guy to be like a killer wrestler when they come back. Which I think they'll probably come back and feud with Pretty Deadly, but oh my god. We then move on to a sort of a women's promo. So Kaylee Ray comes out to the ring. She's very convincing. They're putting it over, being like longest reigning women's champion of the modern era. I quite like her line. They got me one of the best wrestlers in the world. This isn't word for word, but they got me one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I beat her. And I'm like, yes, that's a confident heel champion. I like it. And she's like, I'm going to be your forever champion. And then she's interrupted. And I'm like, oh, it's probably going to be Isla Dawn. It's not. It's Millie McKenzie, who's not been on NXT for ages. She comes out. She interrupts. Yeah, I've not been here for ages, but I want to fight the best. And like, she's getting in the ring. I'm like, oh, to be honest, I wasn't expecting this. And Isla Dawn runs out. And I'm like, okay, Isla Dawn's going to beat her up and challenge Kaylee Ray. But no, she beats up Millie McKenzie, gets her in the ring, and it looks like her and Kaylee Ray are working together to take out Millie McKenzie, and then Meiko Satomura runs out, and she's like, no. And it's a little bit awkward in the ring, but basically Millie McKenzie and Mako, well, to be honest, actually just Mako clears the ring, and she's there with Millie McKenzie, and we then go to, well, we don't go straight to, but after a brief Big Strong Boy versus Noam Dar video package for next week at Prelude, Sid Scala kind of comes up and he tells Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn, okay, you guys have a tag match against Millie McKenzie and Meiko Satomura. Kaylee Ray's like, ugh, and Isla Dawn's just like doing her spooky thing, which again, very spooky. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. We move on to the main event, which is the tag title match between Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan and Pretty Deadly. And for weeks, well, the few weeks I've been doing these, I'm like, okay, Kenny Williams is going to turn on Amir Jordan, which he does. Okay, spoiler, he does. He turns on him in the end, but the way they do it isn't how I would have expected them to go about it. So I'll run through the match, but for the most part, Jordan and Williams are in this match. Williams is very aggressive, but Jordan is in it for the most part for their team, and Pretty Deadly are basically using their strength, their power, and their their heels, so they use heel tactics to kind of have the upper hand throughout the match. There's some pretty cool spots, like one of the spots that I thought was really cool was Jordan and Kenny Williams clear the ring using acrobatic moves. They're inside, Pretty Deadly get in, they're fighting, and okay, this is how am I gonna, it's like a cross. Williams is here and Jordan is there, and Pretty Deadly run towards them. One of them flips over the other whilst the other one goes in, and they take out Jordan and Jordan and Williams. Nigel McGuinness called it crossed swords. I don't know if that's what they call it, Pretty Deadly call it, but they're crossing swords to take them out. Jordan's and William kind of managed to eventually fight back, although for the most part they are being dominated. But basically, it's a very good match until maybe the last couple of minutes where I got a bit confused as to how they went about the end. So basically, Jordan's and William take out Pretty Deadly, but then kind of chaos sort of ensues inside the ring because Pretty Deadly stop a cover, they kind of recover a little bit, the ref's there, Jordan and Williams are both banged up, and so I don't remember his name, the guy with the brown hair, I think his name is Sam Stoker, I'm not 100% sure. I kind of forgot the blonde guy's name. I learned it and then I forgot it. But the guy with the brown hair in Pretty Deadly is about to be taken out by Kenny Williams. But the blonde guy, Louis something, I think, runs in. He pushes the brown head guy from Pretty Deadly into the ref. Ref is down. Guy with brown hair is down. Kenny Williams takes out the blonde guy. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit messy, but it makes sense. Kenny Williams goes out, grabs the tag titles, whilst the ref is down, puts one on the side, goes and gives it to Amir Jordan, and he's like, hit him with it. They would hit us with it if they had the chance, which kind of makes sense, because the heels would probably do that. Amir Jordan, he's about to do it, it's like, no, I can't do it, we're going to win this cleanly. And then Williams like, just hit him, and Amir's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And just Kenny Williams takes the belt and lobs it. I'm like, I don't know, man. Those seem expensive. Let's not lob that, man. Those are expensive. But he sees the one he's left in the corner. He picks it up and goes in the ring. And okay, I'm gonna break down how I thought it would go. I thought he would try and hit the guy from Pretty Deadly, miss, hit Amir Jordan, and Amir Jordan gets pinned. And then in the end, Kenny Williams would be really frustrated, although it's his own fault, he'll take it out on Amir Jordan and beat him up, and that would be his heel turn. And that's the conventional heel turn, where the heel is although they usually make the mistake themselves, they just go nuts and attack their partner. Or it would just be Amir Jordan says, no, I'm not doing it, and then he gets knocked out and pinned. But Amir Jordan is looking, he's got a headlock on the guy with brown hair from Pretty Deadly, but then Kenny Williams hits Amir Jordan in the back with the title and then goes out of the ring, and it's like, whatever, man. I'm like, but you still could have won the match. Like, you still, like, they were still had the upper hand against Pretty Deadly, which didn't make sense as to why Kenny would give up on the match. Like, I would expect him to be like, you know what, fine, whatever, Amir, I'll listen to you. And then because he listened to Amir, they lost. And then he's like, see, I told you, then turns heel. But he kind of throws the match before, which I'm like, it doesn't, in my head, make complete sense, because then Pretty Deadly hits Spilt Milk, which I love as the name for a finisher, which is kind of like a combination spine buster and neck breaker. Again, Spilt Milk, amazing name for a finisher. So I don't quite have a Spilt Milk. And then they win. And Kenny Williams has just stood there on the outside, like, whatever, man. I'm like, I think that's what threw me off this main event, because although, look, the heel turn, you could see for miles away. For the past 3 weeks, you know Kenny Williams was turning on Amir Jordan. But, like, why would he throw the match and attack Amir when they still had a chance of winning? Like, I would expect him to attack Amir Jordan after they lost. Either because it was his own fault, but in his head he's like, it's not my fault, we would have won if we cheated, and, you know, Amir cost us the match, when it's actually Kenny Williams' fault. Or it's Amir Jordan doesn't want to cheat, and they lose because Amir Jordan doesn't want to cheat, and then Kenny Williams is like, see, I told you, and then beats up Amir Jordan. It's just that little bit at the end didn't entirely make sense to me, which is unfortunate, because without that, I think it would have been a really, like that just because it was a great match, and I remember some of the spots from the match, but the thing that sticks with me the most is that finish, where I'm like, it just didn't make too much sense. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you're here at the end, let me know what you think of the ending to the match. I would love to hear your opinion. Did you think it made? Did it make sense to you? Because it didn't make too like I get it, but it didn't make as much sense as him turning after the match. So yeah, and I thought there would be like a proper beatdown at the end of the match, like really get some heat on Kenny Williams, like he gets Amir up and just lays into him, kind of like Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Like, I wanted that heat on Kenny Williams, because I wanted them to set up Kenny Williams to be like, Kenny Williams has, listen, I like Amir Jordan, I like Kenny Williams, but Kenny Williams I can see being someone going for the Heritage Cup, and then once the main title isn't on, like Walter, then going for that eventually. Or even the Cruiserweight title, because I'm pretty sure that's going to go back to the US, and like once Traveler's back, him going for the Cruiserweight title. But yeah, let me know what you think. Yeah, this is in particular, I would love to know what you think of this finish. Yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you actually in a few days for a WrestleMania video. Bye.